Propaganda is a study of mass persuasion in a time of crisis. And so the first rule of effective propaganda is make sure it's not propaganda. And the public relations industry knows that as well as anyone else. And so what we try to do is to convert our clients' private interest into a statement of the public interest. That is, we place news or we manage impressions, and we do it in a way that is, generally speaking, positive, or that emphasizes the positive. And so for a long time, propaganda was not seen as a bad thing. It was seen as a way of sharing information, of improving the quality of life. It's only as governments increasingly begin to substitute their view that their best interest is the best interest of all of their people, and hence that their best interest has to be sold or has to be masked in some way, that the term comes into disrepute. Ideally, if you're in public relations or if you're in propaganda, your name should never be mentioned. Because if your name is mentioned, the focus is on the public relations professional or on the propagandist, and the public may be lazy, but they're not stupid, right? They don't like being led, and as soon as you identify an act of communication as originating from a public relations firm or originating from a propagandist, it's immediately and widely discounted. The key in making a judgment is it intrinsically bad to hide from people what the origin of the story is? And that's sort of the distinction between advertising and public relations. We always talk about the ethics of communication, and the question that we would generally have is, if it were known that you've done what you did, would you be in trouble? And so if the motivation, if the contract, if the sources of the stories were all made available, would that make a difference? And if the answer is, oh yeah, if anyone ever found out what we just did, we're toast, I would generally say that's unethical. Communication, though it may well be profitable, it might be required by contract, it might be in your employer's best interest, it might fall within the kind of ethical norms of your industry, but still as a matter of the public good, if you can't afford to have people know the truth, you probably should stop talking. And so part of the art, both for the propagandist as a government agent, but also the public relations professional, is finding ways to get their story told without having their story directly attributed to them, so that people share the good news, they share the perspective that you're looking for, but they share it as if it came from their own heart, from their own experience, and it's worthy of being passed along to their own friends. We tend to pass messages along when we can gather personal prestige from it, right? And so if I have a secret that I can tell you, you're going to be kind of impressed with me. And so in general, the way social media operates is it provides social capital. It gives people information that they can share and that they gain value from only if they share. And so we can use social media to orchestrate persuasion by planting stories with influencers and understanding that the influencers then will speak in their own language to their own audiences. The first and best outcome is for them to understand that much of what they believe is going to be used against them, and that they have to be especially careful of emotionally satisfying messages or emotionally satisfying stories, because that tells us that the story does not challenge, it merely plays off of the things that they already feel or believe, and that they have to be most conscious of the people closest to them. The people that they most want to believe are the ones most likely to deceive them. The people who are unlike us are very, very bad at deceiving us because they don't understand us well enough to play with our minds. And so, ironically, our greatest enemy are our closest friend. The thing that most folks don't realize is that most news organizations do not collect or analyze the news. They distribute the news. And so the art of public relations is in getting the news placed, getting a story placed so that it is presented as if it were produced by an organization that the public trust. Depending on where you look, the estimates are 70 to 80% of all of the information that we receive from what are considered news outlets are actually their redistribution of information that has been provided to them for purposes other than simply informing the public of the truth. When we look at propaganda as placed news, right, as kind of media manipulation, it becomes a lot harder because the folks who do it are a lot craftier. They are more skilled. They understand the need to sanitize the sources of the story to the extent they can. But we do then ask, okay, who benefits from this story? And so we try to get them to think of the communication strategically. It was released by someone for some purpose. Someone gains from this story. Where does the gain come from? And whether it's a political party or an industry or a point of view, you start by sort of understanding the likely motivations and hence the likely sources of the story that you hear. It's imperfect, but the world is.